Hi, I'm Pam, and I would like to welcome you to the Live Authentically show. My team and I help people live authentic lives and step into realities that they love, and we do this via a number of different modalities. This podcast is obviously one of them. Another is we have a Facebook community, and we'd love to have you join us. We are at liveauthentically.today/FB, and here we have a group of like-minded people committed to spiritual growth and transformation. So on today's show, I am super excited to have with us a very special guest. Her name is Abiola Abrams, and I would like to welcome you. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited, Goddess Pamela.
Thank you. I'm super excited. I know that you've got a number of things going on that you're going to tell us about today, and I'm so grateful that you've taken time out of your day to be on my show. You have a number of accomplishments, I know, and we're going to touch on hopefully several of them today. Abiola is a mindset coach, a transformational speaker, author, retreat leader, and she helps to empower women leaders to break through. So super excited to hear all about that today. But before we jump into more about who you are and what you do on a daily basis, I would love to start the show off with the same question that I start the show off for everybody, and that is, what does it mean to you to live authentically every day?
I love this question, and I love the name of your podcast and the whole purpose that you have,
Thank you so much.
because we're in this world of hyper visibility where it feels like we see everyone and every update all the time. And you know exactly what your third grade teacher might think of you if she follows you on Facebook and all of these things. But while we're in this world of hyper visibility, there is a lack and a dearth of authenticity. And I think that we're all starving for that. We're all starving for, the ability to be around people who are authentic. So for me, living authentically means walking in my truth. It means being exactly, who I am, whether I am with my soulmate clients on one of my retreats, or whether I'm with my mom and my dad and my family, or playing with my niece, or just me by myself. And I think that, we all have many different parts of who we are, but living in our truth, living authentically, is living in full alignment.
I love that. And how do you feel? I mean, now that you live in a place where you're coming at the world and at life from an authentic place. How do you feel now compared to how you used to feel when perhaps you weren't living as authentically as you are today?
Oh my goodness. So, as you know, it is like turning on a light switch.
Right.
And, the before, and you mentioned that you're writing a book. I'm working on my next book as well. And I was just writing this yesterday, that the before is like you're in a room and, and you haven't turned on the light yet, but you're not aware of it, because it's like, maybe like, like my cat can see in the dark, right? So our pets can see in the dark. And so we're seeing in the dark, everyone else is seeing in the dark. And so it is our normal. It is our default setting. And then when we step into a level of truth, with each level of truth, it's like the light is getting brighter and brighter. And because we don't know what we don't know, when you're out of the stream of that, you don't know until you've stepped into it and you look back and you say, whoa, who was
Right.
I then, right?
Exactly. And was there a pivotal moment in your life or a series of moments that where you said, you know what, I need to make some changes. I need to peel back some of the layers and figure out how I can live a life that is more authentic to who I am.
I really think the older that I get, Goddess Pamela, that it's a series of events, and so I've had people who say to me, oh gosh, Abiola, I've been doing this work forever. Like, are we there yet? Like, why am I not healed? And there's not a hallelujah, I'm healed, I'm fixed, I'll never be broken again, I'll never be sad again. Like, we're here as spiritual beings in this beautiful earth school that was created for us. So we're going to have the human experience. But there were many different, several different very strong events in my life. One of them I can think about, which now is, over 10 years ago, but I had a very painful divorce that I dealt with. And, having gone through that experience, the shame, the humiliation that I felt over transgressions that were not even my own,
Mm-hmm.
sent me looking for something greater, sent me on a path of feeling like this can't be it. And so, that for me was a very, very pivotal moment.
And I know, and thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure I know that there is probably a lot of pain associated with that. And I too went through the divorce process a couple of years ago. And our divorce, fortunately, was very harmonious. We were both in agreement in the direction that we wanted to take our lives, which unfortunately is not consistent with what we thought, where we thought we were going to be when we set our wedding vows 20 years prior. But it's still, regardless of the level of harmoniousness, it can still be a very challenging, a very stressful time. And we always have a choice, right? We always have a choice as to how we deal with things. And I chose to look at it through the lens of transformation, and found that even through this, and I'm sure you saw this in your experience as well, that even amidst challenging experiences, there are still hidden gems in there, places we can be grateful, places we can grow, learn. You can ask yourself, rather than why did this happen to me? How can I use this for the purpose of my growth and transformation?
Yes.
So I know
Yes.
so many people who have gone through challenging experiences and have transmuted them, have transmuted that pain into power. And I applaud you for doing that with your experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And transmutation is something that I'm passionate about. The alchemy of spinning, shifting whatever it is that we experienced, as you said, from why me, how could this happen to me, to, okay, well, why not me? And what is the lesson here? And how, when the only way when you're walking through a storm, is keep going. And, how can I evolve from this?
Right. And I know it's so easy. I know a place where I've gotten stuck in the past with various things, and certain people get stuck, is that victim mentality, right? That, like
Yes.
you said, why me? Why did this happen to me? Woe is me. Everybody, other people have it easier. Why am I going through this? But what words of wisdom do you have for people who say, you know what, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this victim mentality. I don't know how to get out. I want to get out, but I don't know how.
Okay, so if you are seeing the world through victim colored glasses, as I say, start with just stopping and just taking a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. Mindfulness is very powerful. And be where you are. Be where you are, and realize that, that this moment that you're in is not your eternity. And when you're in, oh my gosh, woe is me, angst looking at the past, or oh my goodness, what's going to happen to me, angst over looking at the future, you're not in a position of strength. Your power is in the present moment. And so get still and reconnect yourself to whatever it is you believe, your divinity, your sacredness, whether that is Mother Earth or a higher power or whatever it is. Connect yourself to that and tune into the knowingness that things are greater than this moment for you. And start with gratitude. Gratitude is really, really transformational. Two transformational, very simple forces, but will change everything if you're stuck in victimization. Gratitude, number one. Number two, forgiveness. Starting with yourself. Forgive yourself for having misjudged yourself and thought that you were this puny earth being. Forgive yourself for thinking, oh my goodness, I'm a victim of my circumstances. Forgive yourself for thinking that you were just a human being when you are this miraculous ball of light that, cannot be quantified or defined, and your greatest days are ahead of you, not behind you. And then when you're in that place of forgiveness and gratitude, and you've started to raise your vibration just a little bit from where you were, just a little bit more, you can then be able to look for solutions. You can then be able to look for, perhaps people to guide you on your journey, like Pamela or me or someone else, if that's your jam. But connect with someone who is like-minded, who can be a way shower to help you to move forward. Because one of the things that is really, really prevalent in our society is that we bond around our wounds. And so when we're in victim mentality, you know, the wonderful, loving people around us will gather together with us and reflect to us back that victim consciousness. So if you're like, oh my God, you know, how could that person do this to me? That boss, that, you know, husband, that wife, that, you know, child, that whatever, you know, your tribe will usually gather around you and reflect that back. Yes, they're a jerk. They're an a-hole. They're a this, they're a that. And so you need to align yourself with a different energy, a different shift, to help you to be able to find the path out of that. So that's a beginning.
Yeah, and I think that's so important too, is like you said, align yourself with that energy. Pay attention to, because people will jump on that bandwagon with you and will join you with that with that negativity. It's easier, right? It's easier to go down, you know, into negative thought patterns, and you could easily end up in a downward spiral before you even realize what's happening.
Absolutely. Yes. And in fact, you know, that's what's more common for us, especially as women. We bond around that, you know, so you walk into a room and you say, you know, oh my God, life sucks. Everyone says, yes. Oh my God. Yes. You walk in the room and you're like, yeah, I feel great. They're like, what's wrong with her? She must not be well.
Right. Exactly. And I think it's important to achieve a healthy balance though, right? Because I know I used to think, you know, life was about, back in my younger days before I went on this path of evolution and really committing to my spiritual growth and transformation, I thought life was all about just having a positive mindset all 100% of the time. But what I found was that's not being real, right? Being authentic is accepting the dark parts of yourself, the shadow parts of yourself, and integrating that and incorporating it and owning it and being proud of it and figuring out how you can use that to get yourself to a higher place. So I think it's important to achieve a balance between the two. We want to be real, right? Because the people who walk around and say, oh, life is perfect and it's easy and raising little kids is easy. Like, I think life is really hard, actually. You know, it's really hard to maintain the harmony and balance and fulfill all my roles and feel, you know, fulfilled and feel like I'm doing the right things, et cetera. It's hard. But I think it's because it became really challenging, I think. And when I started to do the work, I realized that that's when things started to flow easier, when I was not succumbing to that negativity. And I incorporated the real aspects of myself, the authentic aspects, the dark parts, the shadows, and use that for purposes of growth and transformation. So I've now come.
Exactly.
Thank you. And and that's now I found that I've come to a place where I have in more harmony and balance and peace because I've accepted that. So what words of wisdom do you have to say to help people achieve that balance of between being positive but being real?
Well, I like to call it harmony rather than balance necessarily, because at any point in our lives, we may be in different places. And I call exactly what you just spoke about, you know, the need to force yourself into a positive space. I call that the tyranny of positivity, you know, which is in a lot of movements and a lot of, you know, different spiritual teachers may push that. But for me, I don't think that it's about, you know, okay, positive thinking. I think that that's BS. I think that it's about positive living, which incorporates, as you said, the shadow and the dark parts. And when you're going through a dark night of the soul, in learning to accept all parts of yourself. Because the challenge is for any of us that we have our parts of ourselves that are unloved, the parts of ourselves that we reject, the parts of ourselves that we stuff down and we hide. That results in addictions, that results in codependency, that results in eating disorders, that exacerbates our anxiety or depression or other mental health conditions, because it's really hard to try to keep stuffing something down, to keep trying to hide and deny parts of yourself. And there's no way that you can love yourself fully and completely if you're telling yourself that the darkest parts of you are unacceptable or unloved. And so I think that beginning with do a healing, an incorporative healing process that allows all parts of you to come to the party, that integrates, oh my goodness, if I do this, people are going to think that I'm a B, or, a lot of us grew up, being taught to be people pleasers, taught to prioritize other people, and other people's feelings over our own. But being able to bring all of the dark parts of yourself and honor the parts of you that, are a B, the parts of you that, don't want to be bothered, the parts of you that want to speak up and speak out and shine as brightly as possible. That is how you then really be able to live your authenticity.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sitting here listening to you talk, and it is just awe-inspiring to listen to all of the knowledge and wisdom that you embody, and your energy is just so incredibly radiant. And I just have to ask you, were you born this way with all of this knowledge, or can you walk me through the chronology? I'm sitting here listening to you go, and I'm thinking, where were you 10 years ago, 15 years ago? I so could have used your wisdom then.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I am a girl from New York, who first born American in my family, raised the daughter of South American immigrants. Mm-hmm. And I think that whenever you find, people like you, people like me who seek out this kind of work and then, seek to empower and spread the word, the ministry of empowering others, it's because we've had very deep pain ourselves. And so I have chronic anxiety, probably every kind of anxiety that you could label and name. And my family was bullied a lot in my New York City neighborhood. When I grew up, we were told, go back to your country, not just us as kids, but the whole family, adults. And so it was really painful, and it was really difficult, and so I had to find other ways, other means of being, it's like, like a plant leaning toward the light. Mm-hmm. And within that, thankfully, I have a mother who, even though she wasn't doing this work, by nature, she is a positive person. By nature, she is an encourager. She is, the person who says, you can do it. I don't know what that is. I don't understand it, but sure, go for it. And when I started to realize that other people also were not having that experience and didn't necessarily have that experience, I felt very strongly that a part of my purpose was to be able to be that in a way that is evolved, in a way that is helping us all to be more courageous. And I will share with you that I'm still, I'm on the journey as well, that we're all in this together, as the late great Ram Dass said, we're all just walking each other home, right. And so again, there's no hallelujah, I'm done. Oh, good, I'm fully healed. While we're still here, if you woke up this morning, if you have breath, that means that you are still, your work is not done here. And our purpose for each and every one of us is to evolve to our highest and best good. And so, to do the very, very best we can. And it's a really, just a tiny shift that thinking about, like even the people that we look at and we're like, oh my God, these people are mucking up the world. What are they thinking? What are they doing? I still believe that people really do believe that they're doing the best that they can. Mm-hmm. I really believe that, as horrible and terrible, and misaligned as a lot of things, people's circumstances are, that it's happening also for our greater evolution. Which is a challenging conversation to have, but it's helping to speed up our evolution and our consciousness.
Right. I totally agree with you. And I know that was one of the big turning points on my journey too, is realizing that everyone is doing their best from their respective level of consciousness.
Yes.
And that's really, and like you said, we're all walking each other home. This is a classroom. I even talk about that in my book. This is an earthly classroom. We're here to love and to grow. And there is no hierarchy. We're all students and teachers of each other. And once we realize that, that spirituality really is an individual journey, then we are able to allow people the freedom to evolve on their own. And that was, I know, a big turning point for me. Once I jumped on this path of spirituality and really wanted to dive in, I wanted to bring everybody else with me. Hurry up, guys, come on, let's get on the bus and we're gonna go, full speed ahead. But you can't force a flower to bloom. Everyone blooms at their own time and at their own pace. And like you said, they are doing their best. It's just
Yes.
that, and their life experiences are different, and their belief system is different, and no two people are looking at this reality, or no two people have the same perspective as each other. And that's the one thing to realize is, like you said, just everyone is doing their best. So I think when we realize, let other people do their work and we focus on ours, the game totally changes.
Yes, yes, well said, well said. And even the term, the game of it, if we look at it as, okay, that we're these evolved beings that came to this earth school in order to evolve and grow, and everything that we're seeing is mirror consciousness, reflection, of our light, our dark, out there in the world. Realizing that, okay, I can have real influence if I am able to step back, and see it for what it really is from maybe a divine point of view, that, okay, maybe the minutia of this person texting me back in the grand scheme of things, is not such a big deal. Which is challenging, and we're in it, we're living, I will share with you right now, I'm going through something really, really difficult in dealing with fibroids and fertility. And last year I had 3 procedures, and all of that is really, really hard. But being able to steep myself in knowing that it's all happening, it's all that everything is working out. One of my favorite affirmations, every day in every way things are working out for me, that it's all working out even when it feels like it doesn't, is a really strong place to come from, rather than victimization, going back to our earlier conversation.
Exactly. And it is in those challenging moments. And I'm sorry that you're going through that. I know that has to be really challenging. I've not gone through that specific scenario, but I have gone through pregnancy losses, which have been really challenging. And that too, those were some challenging moments. And I had no choice other than to surrender in those moments. I just said, you know what, this is not unfolding according to my plan. I have no choice other than to believe that there is a grander plan at work here.
Yes.
And that's in those moments that you really have to dig deep and connect to your divinity and connect to your higher self and trust the universe, God, the creator, whatever people choose to call it, that that they have this, that they will have the universe has your back. There is a divine plan. There's a greater plan. Our conscious minds are so used to processing our experience through what we can see and touch and feel and what we experience in this 3D reality. But we forget that there's this whole other realm and this whole other dimension out there. So those are the moments where we just need to let go and let God, or let go and let the universe, whatever the terminology is.
That's it exactly. That's it exactly. And how much power is there in that idea of surrender, of letting go of the reins, that we don't have to be in control and think that we've got to orchestrate every part of it, or how often have we, as we get older, look back on things and say, oh my goodness, I didn't understand when I was in that, but I'm glad that happened in that way. I can now see how that was happening for my greater good. And we're able to look back. So just so allow yourself to know that is, that one day you'll look back at this moment and say and feel the same.
For sure. And I know I used to think the power was in the controlling, the power was in the doing, the power was in the engineering, the power was in the micromanaging. And now I've realized that the power is in a very different place, right? The power is in the accepting and in the forgiving and the allowing and moving to the passenger seat. It's about letting the universe, letting God direct the sails of your life. And it's incredibly freeing. I mean,
Yes.
incredibly freeing. And I know I feel totally different now that I have taken a different approach, because the other approach just wasn't working. Trying to control myself and others. And like you said, too, whether you get that text back, the minutia of if you get that text back from that person or not, I've looked at those little opportunities as invitations from the universe to illuminate parts of me that I was not aware of, parts of me that were unconscious. And I think that's the beautiful thing about human relationships. Life can be complicated, and beautiful because of some challenging human interactions, because they're really invitations from the universe in disguise to make those unconscious parts of ourselves conscious. And those are opportunities to say, okay, why am I feeling triggered? Why does this make me feel anxious that I haven't received a text back? And what is this trying to teach me about myself? So I think it's important that we always reframe those opportunities that trigger us, either from the smallest, the most minute, to the grandest, and say, why is this triggering me the way that it is? And taking those opportunities to do that deep soul work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because so many of us are so out of touch with even just what we feel. And so within that moment, just be like, okay, well, what am I feeling right now? Because oftentimes we just don't even know. So what am I feeling? What is that? Oh, okay. All right. So why is this, as you said, why is this triggering me? And then if you have an answer, you can go a little bit deeper and say, what am I really afraid of? Oh, I'm really afraid that I will be unlovable, or I'll look stupid, or, which all of it tends to come back to that I'm somehow not enough,
Mm-hmm.
That
Right.
I'm not enough in this relationship, or this career, or financially, or with my body, or whatever, I'm not enough. And so starting with how am I feeling right now? What is it that I'm feeling is so incredibly powerful, because we are a society that numbs, that avoids, that, whether it's, people's addiction is, drugs or alcohol or the internet or, Facebook or whatever it is, eating, gambling. It's all the same. It's a way to avoid who we really are. It's a way to deny what it is that you're feeling. And so if you really want to take back your true power and be able to surrender, start with, what am I feeling right now? Oh, what is that?
Right. That is so important, to get in touch with your feelings, because like you said, we're just so conditioned to seek out different numbing agents, like you said, whether it's smoking or alcohol or addictions or internet or whatever it is. And it can be scary to go to look within. It can be scary to look in the mirror and take the mask off and really look at yourself in ways that you haven't looked at yourself before. What would you say to someone who says, I just don't know where to get started? I ask myself how I feel. Now I know how I feel. I don't know how to get from here to where I want to be, a place where I'm living in peace, where I'm living in fulfillment, in harmony, etc. Are there any resources or, that you might point out to people, or how might you coach someone in building that support system so they can get from where they are to where they want to be?
So one of the challenges that I noticed that a lot of people were having is, as you said, how to get from where I am to where I want to be. I would have, like day-long workshops in my city, and people would come and, do what we've all done at those workshops, come and have a transformational experience and then go home to their husband, their wife, their parents, their kids, or whoever, their coworkers, their employees, and be right back in the same energy. And so I would say, if you can get to a week-long, a weekend-long, an immersive transformational experience. And so that's why I started to hold retreats, so you can come and hang with me or go with somebody else if I'm not your jam, but get to a retreat. So over the past few years, I've had retreats in Bali, in Belize, in the last one was the Goddess of Paris, Miracles and Manifesting Retreat. This year is the Goddess Unmasked Retreat. It's my first week-long retreat in America, and it'll be at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York in June. And so a big part of our purpose is exactly that, helping you if you feel like, okay, well, you know, I've read the books, or I'm watching the videos, or I'm doing this, but I still am feeling stuck, to come into an immersive experience of like-minded people, so that now you've shifted your tribe, and it's not your people who are going, are you still watching that weird thing? You listening to that weird woman? Oh, that's strange. You know, you're around a tribe that is all, you know, a consciousness raising and the evolutionary minded space. And you grow so rapidly within that environment. You can shift, have a quantum leap within that environment, because you're not, you know, starting and stopping, you know, there and then back home, there and then back home.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to, if you can, just get to an immersive experience is really incredibly powerful. And you do want to get the tools like Pamela's book when it comes out, or this podcast, or my podcast and my YouTube. You do want to reinforce yourself with those tools. But there's something really, really powerful still about human connection in person, and being able to come together for the purposes of our own healing. No one taught us this in school. There wasn't a, you know, how to clear your chakras and shine class in 3rd grade. I wish that there was, but there wasn't. And so now, you know, the great thing is that we get to reparent ourselves. So if I feel like, I wish that my father was more emotionally available to me, although I know he was doing the very best he could, and he was there, you know, in body, if not in, you know, spirit. I wish that he would have done those things. Well, guess what? Now I get to reparent me. I get to raise myself and heal those things within me. And the beautiful thing is that then that helps to heal others around me. I really believe that that heals your ancestral bloodline. It heals all those who come after. And there's power and transformation in you just saying yes to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to hear more about your retreats. Can you tell me a little bit about what one might be able to expect during one of your retreats?
Yes, and I would love for you to come as well.
That's what I was thinking. Thank you for the
Yes.
invitation. I would love to
Yes.
join you. I would love to join.
Yes. Okay, great. So yes, so this retreat is, as I said, it's called the Goddess Unmasked Retreat and Liberation Summer Camp. So we're going to have an adult goddess summer camp in New York, and it's the week before the summer solstice, which is a really, really powerful time energetically. You know, we have these cues from Mother Nature, these times, you know, where Mother Nature is shifting, and it's natural for us to shift as well. And so it's a really powerful time of transformation. Mm-hmm. And what this retreat is focused on is us removing the masks that we wear on a daily basis to find that authenticity, as we've been talking about, to be able to stop hiding, stop shrinking, stop holding back, stop playing small. Because one thing that is really important to note about us, I call us the RSGs, really smart girls, all of us RSGs and really smart gents who are listening, is that our 40%, us playing 40% at life, looks like 100% to everyone else. So you may have people in your life going, wow, this is amazing. You've got this going, you've got that going, da, 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 da. And you know that you're not shining as brightly as you could if you truly stepped up. And it may look like from the outside, like, wow, that's magnificent. And it is. We want to salute it for yes, and it is. But you stepping truly into your purpose would be even more great, which would be more fully in service. And we get to not only be in service, but have lives of passion and pleasure and joy, and be able to have our fullness, our full experience. And so we're going to be delving deep into shadow work. We're going to be delving deep into, the personality that I like to say the personality that we have is who we created in order to survive our childhoods. Every single one of us we have a number of different coping devices and beliefs and things that we put together, at a formative age. When someone said, "Oh, don't do that," we learned, okay, that part of myself is unlovable. Let me now do this, and so we have these masks and these ways that we're hiding that we need to shed. And so that's what we're going to be doing at this beautiful retreat in Omega. And we'll have, there's yoga, there's a spa, there's Pilates. So it's going to be wonderful.
It sounds like an amazing time. How long, what's the duration of your event?
So it's 5 days. It's June 14th through the 19th. As I said, right before that summer solstice, summer equinox energy. And we are kicking off with I like to start all of my retreats with music, with a live band, because it's a very fast way to raise your vibration, to bring us together as a group. And so, for example, in Bali, I had this Balinese music. In Belize, it's Belizean band. In Paris, I had this woman who was a courtesan and cabaret dancer come and do this dance class. And we're going to have this incredible high beat, high energy girl rock band kick us off on the first day. And then we're going to be going through this incredible experience together for the week. And there will be a bonfire initiation into our own power toward the end of the week. So it's going to be really, really phenomenal.
I know, I can feel the energy behind it already. It sounds like an amazing week. Thank you for sharing that. What other, in addition to these group retreats, what else do you do on a daily basis to help women? What other ways do you help women to step into their personal power and break through? Do you work with individuals?
Yes. So I have a resource site at womanifesting.com and a YouTube channel and a podcast. And I have empowerment courses and groups for spiritpreneurs. So spiritpreneurs are conscious women leaders who are wanting to maybe start their own businesses or move into being able to share their message, whether it's as a speaker, as a coach, as a healer, as an author. And so I have a number of different empowerment programs. And in fact, I have a free masterclass that they can take, a free spiritual business masterclass at richgoddess.club is the link, richgoddess.club, that they can take. That is all about, I think that it's really, really, really important for us when we have something, whether it's this gift of knowing that there's something more and the light has been turned on, for us to not, it's beautiful to keep it and enjoy it, but it really is incumbent upon us to spread it. That right now, if one of us, had the cure for some deadly disease, it would be our obligation to spread it. And I think that it's the same with what we're doing. And I think that's why we're seeing so many coaches and healers and, empowerment specialists. And so that's the tribe of clients that I work with, people who are like you and I, and want to turn their mission into a message and be able to shine on a bigger stage and empower and uplift others.
Wow, that's just so amazing. If you can just walk me through, let's just say I come to you and I say, Abiola, I'm a healer, I'm a spiritualist, I want to help spread my message. Can you walk me through what that might look like? Do we do an initial, interview, or where you get to know, who I am and what I embody? And if you can just walk me through the chronology.
Sure. Sure. So usually what happens is either someone emails me or my beautiful assistant, Michaela, or they, take the free masterclass that I spoke about, and they say exactly what you said. Okay, I know what I do. There are three groups of people. There are people who know, okay, I am this kind of coach. I'm a natural foods, raw foods coach or chef or whatever, and this is what I do. Then there are some people who are like, I took a coaching certification, but I have no idea. I'm just a general life coach and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. And then there are some people who have maybe too many ideas, and they're like, I'm a chief cook and bottle washer, and I'm a health coach and a hairdresser, and I make shoes on the weekends or whatever it is. So we start with an initial getting to know you call and questionnaire. I usually have them both sign up to work with me one-on-one, and I usually bundle and package one of the relevant groups or courses along with it. And so right now, what has come up for a lot of us within this space is visibility. So I have a program called the Spiritpreneur Visibility Lab that's all about having the courage to be able to step into your visibility, having the courage to really be seen as you are. And so we start to figure out what your blocks are. We start to move through those blocks on an inner game and an outer game. So you get soul care and skills, but also strategy. Because when you have strategy and you have systems, it helps to alleviate the fears of, I don't know what I'm doing, that imposter syndrome voice. So we not only work on the mindset, but you get very concrete systems like, here's how, okay, let's take care of this. Here's how a sales funnel works. Here's how a webinar works. Here's how these things work. And I have a number of amazing guest teachers also within these programs. And then it's like, okay, you've got all of that. Now, why are you not showing up fully? Why are you not doing the things that you know that you should be doing? We don't want to show it all over ourselves, of course, but the things that you know in your heart and your soul and your spirit that you're being told to do, guided to do, but you're not doing them. So then let's work on that. How can we transmute? How can we dissolve? How can we shift those things that are holding you back? How can we integrate those parts of you that are not allowing you to shine fully? And so some people will just work with me fully and completely one-on-one. Like I have for example, a client in the UK who has this phenomenal women's lingerie and empowerment business. And she has been in publications from Cosmo to Marie Claire, because again, it's all about the power of being seen, the power of visibility, turning your mission and your message into a movement. And then I have clients like, one of my clients who is a single mom who can't at this moment, because she's taking care of extended members of her family, can't at this moment make the investment for one-on-one coaching. But the beautiful thing is that she's able to work in these programs and seeing tremendous growth in building her coaching practice, in being able to get her message out there. And I am obsessed with and love the ripple effect of I'm working with them, which is empowering their lives and businesses. And then they're going out and working with their tribes and empowering their lives and businesses. And so it's this beautiful, beautiful ripple effect of energy. And so one of the things in the Visibility Lab this past month in 2020 that we've been working on, for example, is that a lot of people started coming to me and saying, I want to write a book. And I said, you know what? Let's do that, because I need to write my next book. I've, been an indie published author, and I've had a book published by Simon & Schuster as well, and had, every job in writing that you can think of before I was a coach. I was a ghostwriter. I've had every single job in writing. So, okay, if that's what you're saying that you need next, you've already got the Visibility Business Lab. So I created the Visibility Book Lab, which helps you to then be able to use that book to build a foundation of a business, book, brand, business program. So again, it's all about all the same thing, raising your visibility, stepping into your power, integrating, dissolving or shedding the things that are holding us back, so that you can play more full out, so that you can stop shrinking, hiding, and playing small, and be the incredible, high exalted mystic ruler, or whatever you want to call it, that you were born to be.
Wow, that is such a powerful message. I wanted to ask you about, I think stepping into that visible role can be scary. I know even for me, when I did right before I did my first Facebook Lives, it was very, very fear inducing. I was worried to get on camera. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I stammer a little bit? What if I don't seem polished? And I thought, I just need to start. I just need to start somewhere. So I know every situation is different, but what is one of the biggest fears or blocks or obstacles? What is one of the biggest, or maybe a couple that you see that people commonly have to get over? What are those hurdles?
Yes. So we all have, just like we all have money blocks, whether you grew up very rich, very poor, or somewhere in between, we all also have visibility blocks. And as I was speaking about at the beginning, we're in this hyper visible world, but 90% of what we're seeing, we're not really seeing anyone. We're not seeing people for who they really are. And for you to be an authentic leader, you have to be willing to be seen as yourself. And so one of the biggest visibility blocks that I have noticed, and this is with people who are beginners and with people who are rock stars, who, household names who we know, are fear of outshining is a very big one. Fear of shining too brightly, fear of, that, okay, if I really, really stepped up, if I really, launched this podcast, started this YouTube, or wrote this book, or went out and did this speaking tour, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, I will be shining too brightly. I will, betray my tribe. That's another one. I'll betray my tribe by being so, visible, so powerful, so loud, being seen and heard in this way. I'll be rejected by the people who love me and care about me. The who does she think she is that we're all afraid of. Another big block is, of course, imposter syndrome, that, oh my goodness, I'll be exposed as an imposter, because how dare I go forward and talk about these things, and so we will find oftentimes people getting certification after certification after certification, but never really launching anything because they are terrified to put themselves out there, terrified to be seen. And it's not, and, I just want to just give, my heart and say, this is not, you're not making this up that it's scary. You're not making this up. This is from a very primal place in our brains. At one point in time, if you betrayed your tribe or were somehow different than your tribe, you'd be booted out and you wouldn't be able to survive. And so there's a very primal, reason in our reptilian brain why this is terrifying for us. And we see it acted out, in our daily basis, on a daily basis, with cancel culture, where one wrong word and, everyone is like, oh my goodness, such and such is a horrible, evil person. So it makes sense. You're not making this up. It makes sense that would be terrifying to you. But the wonderful thing is that it is also freeing. When you feel that you don't have to pretend, the reason why it's scary to us sometimes when we're thinking, all right, I want to make videos, but this is so scary, is because you think you have to be someone other than you. But you get to be yourself. You get to bring your whole self. And that by itself is, surrender, relief, release.
Right. That's so true. I want to talk a little bit about going back to you said, people are sometimes worried that they don't want to shine too brightly. Are there some phrases or just, beliefs that you can help instill in them so that they understand, so that they come to the realization on their own that there's no such thing as too bright. We can all shine brightly, and that brightness, we want to live in the light, right? Brightness is where we want to be. Brightness is what we want to emanate. We want to be the light. We want to be the flame. We want to attract other people so that they can ignite their own flame, ignite their own spark within them. Are there certain phrases or beliefs you anchor on around that? Because I do find that to be really fascinating.
So let's create some declarations, some affirmations, some mantras that people can use if this is a challenge that they're having. And I want to add as an asterisk, as a caveat, I am a big fan of affirmations, but there's a big but in the room. It's not mine. The big but is that you don't want to use affirmations like you're sprinkling sugar over poop. And so you don't want to think, okay, well, I chanted some affirmations, but I didn't do any kind of healing work on myself, and then you're off in what we were talking about, the tyranny of feeling like you've got to put on a positive face when you're not having a positive experience. So, but these mantras, these affirmations, these declarations can be very, very empowering. So a really great one can be, my message is enough. My message is enough. So that by itself, and if you're somewhere where you can write this down and put it in a notebook, write it down, or if there are comments here on your blog post or whatever, write it down. My message is enough, or I am enough. I am enough. And you can use these while you're working out. You can use these, while you're brushing your teeth. You can use these, while you're driving in your car. I am enough. I am enough. You can use another one is, I am worth loving, because if you're feeling like you being seen is going to make you unlovable, just a very simple declaration of I am worth loving. I am worth loving. Another one is I am surrounded by wonderful ideas and incredible people. Notice how very simple these all are, because we're speaking to the part of our brain that is 6 years old, that is 8 years old, that is 12 years old. So we want to keep them very, very simple. I lead people through a process when I work with them one-on-one and in groups as well, called EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, which is tapping. And with tapping, if you're not familiar with it, we start off with the fear-based statement and tap through to the positive. So one quick round of that might look like, this fear of being seen, this fear of being seen, and you would tap along and repeat with me. What will people think? I can't believe I'm putting myself out there like this. They're probably going to laugh at me. That girl from high school, she's following me. I know she's definitely going to laugh at me. Who do I think I am? I'm putting my voice out there. I feel like I have something to say. And there are a lot of people with things to say. But I feel like this is really important. And I'm really excited about sharing it. What if this was my purpose? What if I was meant to share this? What if this was my gift? It would be important for me to shine. It would be important for me to step up. It would be important for me to own my power. I think this is my purpose. I think I am being called to shine. I think I need to be seen. I welcome being heard. I dare to be heard. Because this is my time. And this is my truth. And I'm living authentically. And I am stepping into my power. And every day things are working out for me. It keeps getting better and better. I love shining brightly. I love showing up fully. Hey world, look at me. I've got something big to say. And I'm changing the world. And I'm changing the world. And this is my time. So that's just a quick round, but usually it would be much slower and we would go through, right? And you can feel that the energy, we can feel the vibration.
Speechless, and that is really hard to accomplish. Speechless. That was absolutely a beautiful demonstration. Thank you so much for doing that. I could see my smile was getting bigger and bigger. The energy was building. I could feel it building as I was watching you do this. That was
yay.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so, yes, they can rewind this and tap along and do it themselves, and it helps to just it elevates you rather than, okay, I've got to be positive. Let me deny everything that's happening to me. It allows you to be able to be honest and truthful and move through some stuff. And you can do that every morning. You can do that process every morning.
That was amazing. I could see the shift. I could see the shift, feel the shift. Just what an incredibly, just incredible exercise to go through. So thank you for doing that.
Yay. You're welcome.
I'm definitely going to have to incorporate that into my regimen. I'm always looking to incorporate new things, and that will definitely be something that I do on a regular basis. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. And I will make a video separately, like a 5-minute one specifically for you and your tribe, and send it to you so that you can use it and you can share it as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So we are actually, unfortunately, starting to wrap up here. We have a few minutes before we close off the show. I feel like I could talk with you all day.